Hey everyone, and welcome to Chapter 10, which is all about risk management. So, this chapter is basically about how to keep the bad guys out of your network. Think of it as learning to be a digital bouncer, except instead of checking IDs at the club, you're checking packets at the perimeter of your network. So, some objectives of the chapter. By the end of the chapter, you'll be able to do three important things. First, you'll identify the triple threat to your network, which are people, technology, and malware, which is like the unholy trinity of network security problems. Second, you'll learn how to increase network security through risk assessment, which is basically figuring out what could go wrong before it actually does. And third, you'll implement device hardening techniques, which is really just a fancy way of saying make your devices tougher to crack than a coconut than with a plastic spoon. So here we go. So, what exactly is a data breach? A data breach is when an unauthorized person gains access to your network. Kind of like when someone crashes a party they weren't invited to, except way more expensive and with potential legal consequences. When thinking about security risks, you need to ask yourself two critical questions. What is at risk, and what do I stand to lose if it's stolen, damaged, or destroyed? For example, if someone steals your lunch from the fridge in the office, that's annoying. If someone steals your customer database, that's career ending and possibly company destroying. So, a type of security risk is obviously hackers. So, we're looking at three different types of hackers on this slide. We've got the white hat hacker. They are the good guys. So, they are the professional burglars that companies hire to test their locks. Then you have black hat hackers. They're the actual bad guys who cause damage and steal data. And they're the reason why we can't have nice things on the internet. And then there's the gray hat hackers who follow their own code of ethics, kind of like vigilantes who might break into your system just to leave you a note saying, hey, you should really fix this. A vulnerability is basically a weakness in your system. Think of it like leaving your window open when you're on vacation. An exploit is when someone actually climbs through the window. The MITRE Corporation keeps track of all these vulnerabilities in their CVE dictionary, which is like a phone book of all the ways your system can be broken into. And then there's the scariest one, which is called a zero-day exploit. This is when hackers find a vulnerability and start using it before the software developer even knows that it exists. It's like someone finding a secret door to your house that even you didn't know was there. Social engineering is basically hacking humans instead of computers, and honestly, it's often easier. Phishing is when someone sends you a fake email pretending to be your bank, the one that starts with Dear Valued Customer, when your bank definitely knows your name. Quid pro quo is I'll scratch your back if you give me your password. Dumpster diving is literally going through trash to find sensitive information. Yes, people actually do that. Tailgating is following someone through a secure door. Piggybacking is the same, but with permission. And shoulder surfing is exactly what it sounds like, reading over someone's shoulder. It's like a buffet of ways to be sneaky. An insider threat is someone you trust who might have or develop bad intentions. It's like finding out your trusted babysitter has been teaching your kids how to pick locks. To reduce these risks, you need to do background checks, enforce the principle of least privilege, which means give people only the access they need, not the keys to the kingdom, design checks and balances, and deploy DLP solutions, which are data loss prevention. Not don't lose passwords, but that would work too, probably. A DOS or DDoS, denial of service attack, is when someone floods your network with so much traffic that legitimate users can't get through. Imagine someone ordering 10,000 pizzas to your house so the real delivery guy can't get to the door. DDoS is the distributed version where the attack comes from multiple sources called zombies. And yes, they're about as pleasant as actual zombies. DRDoS uses innocent computers called reflectors to bounce the attack off of, like using mirrors to redirect a laser beam at your target. More fun attack types is an amplified DRDoS attack. It's when small requests trigger huge responses, like having someone say, "How was your day?" and then you giving their entire life story, or them giving you their life story. A PDoS, or permanent DOS attack, actually damages your device's firmware beyond repair. It's the network equivalent of throwing your device into a volcano. And then there's the friendly DOS attack, which is unintentional and has no malicious intent. Like when everyone in the office tries to stream the World Cup finals, or the Cardinal game, or the Blues game, or the Masters, all at the same time. And then that crashes the network. So here's a diagram showing a SYN flood attack, SYN. See that infected PC on the far left in the orange box? It's commanding an army of zombie computers to bombard the poor web server with these requests. The server is probably thinking, hello, is anyone actually there? While drowning in fake connection attempts. It's like getting prank called by 1,000 people at once. More attack types, because apparently hackers never run out of creative ways to ruin your day. We've got on-path attack intercepts your transmissions, which is, imagine someone reading your mail before resealing it and passing along. We have deauth attacks, and they send fake deauthentication frames, basically telling devices you're not welcome here anymore. We have DNS poisoning, which redirects internet traffic from legitimate sites to phishing sites, which is like someone changing all the street signs so people end up at the wrong spot. And backdoors are security flaws that let unauthorized users in, literally like having a secret door in your house that you forgot about. Malware is malicious software designed to mess up your day, your system, or probably both. The malware family comes in many different forms. We have viruses, and they replicate themselves with the intent to infect more computers. They're like the flu, but for computers. Trojan horses disguise themselves as something useful, but actually harms your system. Same idea is worms. Worms run independently and travel between computers. They're the backpackers of the malware world, just wandering from system to system. More malware, friends, on this slide. Bots. Bots run automatically and connect to command and control servers, creating botnets. Think of them as robot armies waiting for orders. And then there's ransomware, which locks your data until you pay a ransom. It's like someone putting a bike lock on your refrigerator and demanding $50 for the combination, which is not cool. Okay, next we have Jigsaw ransomware, which is absolutely terrifying. This charming piece of malware threatens to send all your data to all your contacts. Imagine your browser history being emailed to your mom, your boss, and that person you had a crush on in high school. The countdown timer adds that extra touch of panic. This is why we make backups, for sure. Malware does have some sneaky characteristics. Some use encryption to avoid detection, like wearing an invisibility cloak. Others use stealth to disguise themselves as legitimate programs. Nothing to see here, just your regular, totally not malicious calculator app. Polymorphic malware changes every time it moves to a new system, like a shapeshifter. And time-dependent malware activates on specific dates. Logic bombs are programmed to start when certain conditions are met, like if it's Friday the 13th and Bob from accounting logs in, then you delete everything. Risk management does have layers, kind of like if you peel back the layers of an onion. A security risk assessment looks at threats and vulnerabilities, basically figuring out all the ways things could go wrong. A business risk assessment evaluates how these threats would impact business processes. Because if you say the server is on fire, it means different things to IT versus the accounting department. And vendor risk assessment checks if your suppliers and partners are secure, because it doesn't matter how strong your locks are if you're giving keys to sketchy people. A posture assessment thoroughly examines your network to find weaknesses. It's like a full medical checkup, but for your network. A security audit is done by accredited companies following standards like PCI DSS and GDPR, which is Europe's privacy regulation that makes companies actually care about your data. These audits are like having a professional inspector come check if your digital house is up to code. Now, during assessments, we sometimes think like hackers to find problems. A vulnerability assessment identifies network vulnerabilities. There are two types: authenticated, where the attacker has the same access as a trusted user, like testing what damage an employee could do if they went rogue, and unauthenticated, where the attacker starts from the outside, like seeing if a stranger can break in from the parking lot. Penetration testing uses various tools to find and exploit vulnerabilities, which is like hiring someone to try to break into your house so that you know where to add locks. Red team, blue team exercises are even more fun. The red team attacks while the blue team defends. It's basically capture the flag, but with networks. Sometimes there's a purple team that helps both sides learn from each other. They're like the Switzerland of cybersecurity exercises. Scanning tools help discover all sorts of interesting things about your network: every available host, what services are running, open and closed ports, firewall configurations, and unencrypted data. It's like having X-ray vision for networks. These tools can tell you more about your network than you probably knew yourself. Kind of embarrassing when a tool finds the test server you forgot about 3 years ago. So let's meet three different scanning tools. First, we've got Nmap, which is like a network GPS. It maps out your entire network quickly. It started as a simple port scanner, which searches for open ports, like checking which doors in a building are unlocked. Nessus performs more sophisticated scans. If Nmap is a metal detector, Nessus is an MRI machine. And Metasploit combines scanning with exploit techniques, which is like the Swiss Army knife of penetration testing tools. So here's a graphic or an image of what Metasploit looks like in action. And look what it found. It found a Soho router with the username admin and the password as 1234. That's the kind of password an idiot would suggest and have on their luggage. This is why we change default passwords, folks. Metasploit is basically saying, hey, I found your router's password and it's embarrassingly bad. An IDS, or intrusion detection system, monitors network traffic and generates alerts about suspicious activity. Think of it as a security camera for your network. It watches everything and yells when something looks wrong. It uses two methods: statistical anomaly detection, which is kind of like someone saying, hey, Bob, Bob usually downloads 1 gig a day. Why is he suddenly downloading 100 gigs a day? And then there's also a signature-based detection, which looks for patterns exactly like the malware from a previous date. IDS comes in two flavors. We've got host-based IDS, which runs on a single computer, which is like having a single or personal bodyguard for that one machine. And then we have network-based IDS, which protects the whole network and usually sits at the edge or in the DMZ, which stands for the demilitarized zone, a buffer zone between your internal network and the scary interwebs. Using both HIDS and NIDS is like having both security cameras and security guards all at the same time. This diagram shows the difference between the IDS and the IPS. See how the IDS just watches and alerts when it spots the attacker? It's like it's kind of like a really observant neighbor who calls you when someone's at your door. The IPS, on the other hand, actively blocks the attack. It's more like a bouncer who physically stops troublemakers from entering your house and/or network. To monitor network traffic, NIDs can use port mirroring, also called span, where one port copies all the switch's traffic. It's like having a security camera that sees everything happening in the building. Or you can use a TAP, which is test access point, which captures all traffic between two devices. Nothing escapes the tap. It's like having a wiretap, but legal and for your own network. Here's another diagram or a graphic, kind of a visual comparison. We've got span capturing some traffic crossing a switch, like taking snapshots of cars passing by. But a tap captures everything between two specific devices, like recording every single bit of a phone conversation. The tap is more thorough, but also more focused. So you basically choose your surveillance style. While IDS can only detect and log suspicious activity like a tattletale, IPS actually does something about it. IPS directs threats and prevents traffic from flowing based on the source. It's judge, jury, and executioner all in one. NIPS protects entire networks, while HIPS protects specific hosts. It's the difference between having one big guard dog for your whole property versus individual guard hamsters for each room. And here's how IPS devices are placed on a network. Notice the NIPS at the network edge after the firewall, like a second line of defense. Then there's another NIPS between network segments and HIPS running on the server. It's like having guards at the main gate, checkpoints between areas, and personal bodyguards for VIPs. It's defense in depth is what it is. So a honeypot is a purposefully vulnerable decoy system designed to attract hackers. You might name it something tempting like confidential customer data or CEO passwords. It's like leaving a fake wallet on the ground to catch pickpockets. A honey net is a whole network of honey pots because if one fake system is good, a whole network of them is better. Hackers think they've hit the jackpot, but really they're just playing in our sandbox while we watch and while we learn. Device hardening is all about making your devices tougher to crack. It's like putting armor on your systems. There are many layers of defense you can implement. Think of it as turning your devices from soft-boiled eggs into diamonds. The harder they are, the less likely someone will be able to break them. Managing security patches properly involves several steps. We have discovery, which is finding what needs patching. We have standardization, which is making sure everything is consistent. We have defense in depth, which is multiple layers of protection. We have vulnerability reporting, which is keeping track of problems. Implementation, which is actually installing the patches. We have assessment, which is checking to see if it worked. And risk mitigation, which is dealing with what's left. It's like maintaining a car. You need to find problems, fix them properly, and check that everything's working as it should. To protect devices, disable unnecessary services and protocols. It's like closing windows you're not using. Why leave them open for burglars? Reduce access paths, choose secure protocols. HTTPS is good, HTTP is bad. Reduce startup processes. Your computer doesn't need to launch 47 things at startup. Disable unneeded services, declutter software, and close unused ports. Your network should be like a minimalist apartment. Only keep what you really, really need. So here's how to disable Telnet in Windows. Why disable Telnet? Well, because it sends passwords in plain text. It's like shouting your password across a crowded room. If you look, you can see all of those Windows features. Most of them you'll never use. It's like having 50 keys on your keychain when you only need 3. Turn off what you don't need. Managing devices remotely requires good security. SSH keys are way better than passwords because they're like having a unique, uncopyable key instead of a password that could be, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Many devices let you create multiple admin accounts with different access levels. Privileged access means some users can do sensitive tasks. It's like giving someone the master key versus just the key to the supply closet. Security precautions for privileged accounts include limited use. Don't use admin accounts for checking email. Limited location, only from secure workstations. Limited duration, make sure you log out when done and don't stay logged in all day. Limited access, only to what's needed. And limited privacy, because those accounts might be monitored. It's like having a key to the bank vault. You don't carry it everywhere. You only use it when it's necessary. And someone's probably watching you when you do it. So this slide is about anti-malware software. So when implementing anti-malware, location does matter. Host-based protects individual computers. Server-based protects servers, obviously. Network-based protects at the network level. And cloud-based protects from, you guessed it, the cloud. You need to balance protection with performance. Anti-malware that makes your computer run like it's from 1995 isn't helpful. It's like wearing armor. Full plate, male is very protective, but try running a marathon in it. DHCP snooping prevents rogue DHCP servers from hijacking your network. Without it, any device could pretend to be a DHCP server and redirect traffic, like someone setting up fake detour signs. DHCP snooping makes sure only the real DHCP server can hand out network configurations. On Cisco switches, you can use the IP DHCP snooping command because network security commands are apparently allergic to complete words and proper spacing. Dynamic ARP inspection, or abbreviated to DAI, protects against ARP spoofing attacks. It checks if the source IP matches the source MAC address, basically making sure people are who they say they are. It's like checking IDs at the door, but for network packets. DAI and DHCP snooping working together like Batman and Robin. If Batman prevented fake DHCP servers and Robin stopped ARP spoofing. When you throw away old devices, we're talking about asset disposal, you're potentially giving away company secrets. It's like throwing away your diary without tearing out the pages. Companies hire professional disposal services that properly destroy devices. They'll give you a certificate of electronic equipment destruction, which is basically a receipt saying we properly destroyed your stuff so you can't be sued later. Because nothing ruins your day like finding out someone recovered customer data from the server you threw in the dumpster 3 years ago. Deep breath. We are done with Chapter 10. You should now know how to identify security risks from people, from technology, and malware. You should be able to increase network security through proper risk assessment. And you can implement device hardening techniques to make your systems tougher than a $2 steak. That's pretty tough. Remember, network security is like hygiene. It's not glamorous, but ignore it and things get really unpleasant really fast. That's it for Chapter 10. We'll see you next time for Chapter 11.